Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your trusted weather source, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your President's Day, February 17th, 2025. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're tracking here for today as we're looking at an Arctic invasion. It's here, and we're going to track its progress for this upcoming week with temperatures running well below normal for a big part of the country. Along with that, we have a snowstorm we're going to track that's going to move out of the southern plains and into the mid-south. We'll show you the specifics on that. Doesn't look to be overly huge, but it will be a nuisance, that's for sure. And then we'll take a look and see if there's any kind of pattern shift coming at us as we transition into the month of March. Now, before we get going, first, I'd like to welcome aboard any new subscribers. And if you haven't yet decided to subscribe just yet, please do us a favor if you could. Please hit that subscribe button right now. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, please leave me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. It does help a little bit with the YouTube algorithm. All right, let's go ahead and start off by first taking a look at the big picture here across the nation. It's not bad here along the eastern seaboard after that big weekend storm that's moved on out to sea. We're looking at some conditions, a little bit of snow up here across the high plains. There's that big Arctic air going to be moving down here. And we're going to see another storm system here off the west coast that'll be moving into the northwest as we head for the next couple of days. Looking at the watches and warnings across the nation, again, in anticipation of this developing winter storm here, we do have winter storm warnings up here across the central portion of the country as we go through the next 24 to 36 hours. Very windy up into the northeast, numerous wind advisories, high wind warnings up there as well. And we do have some snows continuing with that onshore flow up here, winter storm warnings across the Cascade Mountains and into the interior sections of the northern Rocky Mountains. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're seeing here. Again, we got that big Arctic high here coming in here. Look at this, minus 29, minus 27, minus 24, minus 29. So brutally cold air that's going to be kind of oozing on down here very slowly as it's been doing so. And we're expecting morning lows here as we head toward Wednesday down below zero, getting all the way down into Oklahoma. It's going to be brutal. I'm going to show you that here in a second. Got some snows here across areas of Nebraska this morning. And we do have some pretty decent rains up here into the areas up near Washington State and into Oregon. Some pretty good heavy rains here north of Astoria there along the Oregon-Washington border and heading up toward Aberdeen. So a wet start for the folks here in this part of the country. Let's go take a look at the latest from the Storms Prediction Center, if I get it out correctly for you. We're looking pretty good for today. Not to worry about that, but with that developing storm system we're going to watch this week, we might see a little bit of action going into day two, going in toward tomorrow. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. As you can see, we do have that marginal risk here right along the Gulf Coast from Louisiana over toward Texas. And this will be for your Tuesday going into your Wednesday morning. We'll have to watch that very closely. Again, not looking bad. We do have a slight tornado risk, less than 2% here, just right along the Gulf Coast of Louisiana that we're going to have to watch very closely with that system. Now, obviously, with that threat being there, we're going to have some excessive rain, some heavy rains possibly in this zone as well, right along the Gulf Coast. And as that moves off toward the east, we'll continue to see that track over toward, say, the Florida Panhandle. So the day three outlook here, you kind of see it kind of go over toward Florida and over towards South Georgia as we go in towards your Wednesday. So we're talking Tuesday, Wednesday with a heavy rain threat. But the big news story has got to be this, boy. I mean, look how much of the country, folks, is covered with this hazard outlook for just a bitterly cold temperatures. I mean, just a big swath of the country in there. And of course, we're going to have to track that southern stream storm that's going to be coming out of the plains. And it's going to be really close to see if it's going to get into Alabama and Georgia for our friends down here in the southeast to see if that's going to be a player or not. So let's go ahead and take a look at the jet stream. That's what's kind of driving this very cold air that's coming into play here. Again, we've got the system that we're going to track going in toward your Tuesday and Wednesday. So basically, here's your polar vortex low here. We're driving in this system here across the south into the south central United States and in across the southeast. That's going to eject on out to sea. That track of that low is going to be critical because any tens of miles can make a big difference whether you see snow or not, especially across areas of the deep south. So this moves on out. Now, we'll say once this cold shot moves on out a little bit going into next weekend, kind of a quiet flow across the nation expected going into next week. In fact, the jet streams are not exactly working together here in tandem. You got here's your main flow up here. Here's your subtropical jet down here. They're not really kind of working together. So no big major storm systems I'm seeing in the offing. We do have another cold shot here. Here's this cold shot here. This is the dip of the jet stream here. We'll see a cold shot coming here as we head toward the 26th and 27th of February. And then the pattern begins a little more progressive again as we head toward going into the 1st of March. So we're starting to see kind of, again, these little dips in the jet stream here, a little zonal flow here across the country. So we'll see where the northern tier will cool off again, and we'll see little weaker storm systems that are kind of traversing the country as we go in toward the 3rd and 4th of March. So let's go ahead and break this down. We're going to first take a look at the high resolution model data. We're going to be watching, again, we got some activity here in the northwest, and then we're really going to pay attention to this part of the country as we kind of watch this developing storm system going into Tuesday. When again, we got that very cold Arctic air in place coming on down with this thing. So today is not bad. We're going to have to deal with the snows across the Intermountain region on your Monday. Notice as we go in toward Tuesday morning, start to see the snows there break out between Kansas and over toward Missouri as we go into the early morning hours on Tuesday. And things really begin to deteriorate, especially there across Oklahoma. Again, it's pretty shallow with that cold air down there. So we got some warm air trying to intrude over the top of it. So as a result of that, we're getting a little bit of that mix in there with that pink. That's that freezing rain and sleet. And this will continue to track off toward the east as you go throughout the day on your Tuesday afternoon, going into areas of, say, Arkansas and Missouri with some snows, and into areas of Kentucky. And this continues right into Tennessee, East Tennessee, as we head toward midnight on your Tuesday, Wednesday. So going into Tuesday, Wednesday morning, going into the 19th. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look right now at the European model at that time. So you can see the snapshot here. And then again, this is going to be very close. You're seeing some snows here across northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, and riding right along the Tennessee border there, going into Georgia as well. So looks like the extreme northern counties of North Georgia will get it there. Here is our big polar vortex right there, coming in that bitterly cold temperatures. And again, we're expecting a lot of areas there seeing below zero temperatures across the country here on your Wednesday morning. Now, this system is going to eject on out to sea. We were concerned last week we might get a big nor'easter. Does not appear that's going to be the case. This is not going to phase together, stays off the shore, and moves on out to sea. So we're not looking at a big snow threat across areas of the northeast. So this moves on out. We stay cold going in this upcoming weekend, and then looks like we're just a kind of a progressive fast flow. We got one system there, bringing in the snows there across the northeast, going into the 26th and 27th. That's that reinforcing shock coming down there I was just mentioning. This moves on out. And then looks like we're just kind of, again, the flow becomes more westerly, more zonal. So we get a little more activity with the snow systems coming in here, or storm systems coming in from west to east across the country as we go in toward the early days of March. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we're expecting precipitation-wise from these systems here as we go through the short term. Look for the next 3 days here first. Again, the heaviest rains appear to be staying right along the Gulf Coast, obviously, with that storm system here tracking across the south. And some of this will be in the form of snow, and we've got some heavier rains out here in the Pacific Northwest as well. Going out for the next 10 days, the trend is really not going to see a whole lot of aggressive storm systems out there. You notice we're not really filling in a whole lot, except for areas out there in the Pacific Northwest as we go for the next 10 days. So going out 10 days, we're very wet and rainy out here from Washington State down into extreme northern California. But most of the nation really not going to see a whole lot, as we're going to see kind of a little bit of a dry period as we transition a little bit. And then we get a little more active weather pattern as we get into the month of March. So let's go ahead and take a look at the snow totals again. Not overly through the roof with this next system. We're going to see it kind of tracking there. You see it there kind of breaking out there late in the day on Tuesday there across portions of Kansas and coming into Missouri. All right, and that'll continue to move off toward the east. And it'll graze into areas of the south. Again, we're not looking overly high here on the European model. Just a little bit of light snow here across extreme northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, North Georgia, but not really amounting to a whole lot. Again, that blue is really your 2 inches plus. And then we see a little bit of a burst of snow, maybe here right along the Carolina coast here as that storm system begins to exit here through the region here for this upcoming week. So let's go in a little bit closer here. We're going to central areas here first. Again, I'm not seeing too heavy as far as totals. We're looking generally basically 2 to 4 inches. There's a couple of pockets in here looking at 4 to 5, but generally a bit on the light side. Just a light dusting really here across northern Alabama and extreme north Georgia showing up here on the latest European model as we go into this upcoming week through Thursday. So as we go take a wider look, once again, we'll take you out to the next 10 days. We'll see what it's showing. And again, for the next 10 days, not showing a whole heck of a lot. We get a little bit more there into areas of the Northeast, which has had a very winter weather, snowy weather, I should say, for this past winter, and we'll continue with some intermountain snows. But other than that, that's about it as we kind of see things quiet down and settle down here across the nation. Now, of course, the big story has got to be the fact we're dealing with this extremely frigid cold temperatures. Again, this is all the areas here into Wednesday morning. We're expecting temperatures looking at below zero. These will be 30 degrees below up here with some of this cold air. You can get a little pocket of below zero here to the northeast as we get toward Wednesday morning. And we're talking about areas here seeing temperatures from 30 to 40 degrees below normal for this time of year. So again, this is going to be the coldest morning going in towards your Wednesday. Now, let's go ahead and track this cold air as we progress. Again, you're looking at those purples. That's where we're talking 30 degrees plus. Obviously, the greens and the blues are obviously below normal as well for as far as temperatures. So this is going to settle on down here toward the south, and it'll begin to shift a little bit here toward the east. So as we go in toward your Thursday morning here, we're settling in a little bit more toward, obviously, the areas here across the Ohio River Valley, getting into parts of the deep south. Big old chunk of Arctic cold air sitting there with that polar vortex invasion. Now, as we go into the weekend, it'll stay on the chilly side, begin to moderate just a little bit. Still below normal, but not nearly as bad. You see they're going into Sunday, still looking at below normal temperatures here across the southeast. We're definitely warming things up here out here in the west, in the high plains, obviously with the reds and the oranges there, as we go in toward your Monday. And then by the time we headed toward Tuesday, I mean, wow, look how much of the country here on the 25th looking at above normal temperatures here on your Tuesday. Now, keep in mind that is brief. Remember, we are tracking another cold shot that's going to be coming down here as we go toward the 26th and 27th. So again, watch this as we go through the 26th and 27th. Here's another cold shot here coming across the eastern third of the United States going into the 27th here across areas of the northeast and the southeast, getting with those below normal temperatures once again as that quick hit and run moves on in. It moves on out, begins to moderate again, and then as we head toward the first, a big part of the country still looking at above normal temperatures going into the first and second. Then we kind of see a little transition going from the first to the second. The transition basically is we start seeing the northern tier kind of see the cold air kind of coming back into here, warmer here across the southeast heading toward the third, and we'll kind of take this all the way out to the end there a little bit, and then it kind of cools down there across the southeast once again. So looks like we got a couple of moderation days in between, some colder shots that we're going to have to deal with here as we go into and start entering into the first portions of March. So let's go ahead and take a look at the climate outlook here. Again, we're tracking that cold air that's going to be settling in across the southeast here. Milder out here in the west. We're talking about the 22nd through the 26th. And then a very dry weather pattern. Again, we kind of illustrated that with the fact that we didn't see a lot of really heavy rain events, except for areas here in the northwest going over the next 10 days. Beyond that, well, looks like we still continue very mild out here in the west, kind of near normal, a little below normal here across the southeast, going from the 14th, from the 24th to the 2nd of March. Now, beyond that, it looks like we start to see things begin to cool off a little bit here, where the things might be looking where it's colder to the north and cooler down to the south as we get deeper into the month of March. Precipitation-wise, the flow starts to pick back up again, so near normal precipitation for a big part of the country except for the northern tier, and dry out here into areas of the southwest portion of the United States and into Southern California. So again, we got to deal with that Arctic air this week. That is definitely the big news story there. And I guess the good news is for winter causing a big problem, this snowstorm coming at us does not appear to be a huge snowstorm. It's going to cause some travel headaches for sure, but definitely not on par with what was potentially coming at us as we were looking out toward last week. Last week, it looked like it was going to be a little more significant. It does not appear to be so. And I think part of it is because that Arctic air is just so massive and the air is so dry, it just kind of sucks the air up like a sponge. So as this thing exits on off the East Coast, we'll just have to deal with the cold temperatures. And at least the good news is we get a break after a couple of rounds of severe weather last week. We don't have any imminent severe weather coming our way in the country as we wrap up the month of February. All right, that's y'all's update for now. Again, if you're not yet officially a subscriber on the page, what you waiting for, my friend? Please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. As always, I appreciate any feedback you have. Give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate you guys helping our little channel here. All right, that's your update for today. You guys take it easy. Be good, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next update. Till then, y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.